How we doing, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. I am your host, Richie. I am riding solo today, but I don't have that lonely feeling. Kind of like the loneliness that I imagine Dan Campbell will feel in this very strange offseason after some of his shenanigans on the coaching end yesterday. Disappointing loss for the Detroit Lions doesn't even do it justice. Lamar Jackson's crew, the Baltimore Ravens, lose in many ways a heartbreaker. Missed opportunities galore in that game, and I am also going to hit on that, as well as give you an introductory form to our Super Bowl preview, a rematch of 54. It will be the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs locking horns yet again. Some of the faces are different, but the main characters are still in place. It's the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel on YouTube. I am just going to link this out to a couple of my streaming platforms, and then we are going to get flying. Very eventful day, but I must admit this. If I am a Detroit Lion fan, I think I'm literally sick today after the way that they allowed the 49ers to come back, which ultimately goes down as the biggest comeback in championship game history. After yesterday, the WCF on the Lions jerseys should be replaced with WTF. Coach Dan Campbell's reckless decision-making gives the 49ers new life, gives them momentum as the Lions are on the wrong side, as I already alluded to, the biggest comeback in NFC Championship game history. For those of you who didn't watch the game, I'm going to give you a little detail on what this debacle looked like. Up 14 with an opportunity to take a 3-score lead, Dan Campbell opted to not take the very makeable field goal. And while I understand that during the course of the year, it is literally part of this man's coaching style to always roll the dice and take chances, when you are literally minutes away from solidifying your position in a winner go-home game to play in the Super Bowl, you cannot take points off the board. I don't care what your coaching style suggests. I know that today on Good Morning Football, which has been going on my TV for a good juncture of today, my brother from another mother, Brett Bandick, spent a couple of days here with me and the fam, watched football yesterday, and both of us are just miffed, as I'm sure many football fans are, with the decision-making. And it doesn't just end there. Jahmyr Gibbs, the rookie sensation, puts one on the floor. 49ers recover, quickly tie the game. A little later into the game, in an integral moment of the game, Dan Campbell yet again went for it on fourth, down by 3 with an opportunity to tie, no conversion. I don't want to hear about the receivers dropping passes. I don't want to hear about Brock Purdy and his clutch value. Dan Campbell literally did everything in his power to give momentum to a 49er team that did not earn it. I'll give the 49ers credit for seizing the opportunity when they saw blood in the water and worry on the faces of the Detroit Lions. But I understand that Dan Campbell is one of these guys that's a candidate for Coach of the Year. I understand that this Lions story has been one that is quite cool. You know, this is a team that all of America wanted to see win, unless if you are literally a 49er fan. But I just don't know how you look your men in the eyes. I don't know if it's ego. I don't know if it's stubbornness. But I don't know how you look your men in the eyes after literally allowing that to happen. I remember the Dallas game earlier in the year, a game that kind of galvanized the Lions to go on this run. But it was a similar theme. Taking unnecessary risks. I do not understand in any and all era of football, especially a playoff game, a title game, when you are the dog, the team that you're playing, you're not supposed to have the lead on. You have to bury them. Long off season for the entire Detroit Lions organization. And I think the real tragedy in this is that you're not guaranteed another shot at the Super Bowl. For certain players and certain teams, no matter how good of a program they're running, sometimes it is that one opportunity that you have. And when you squander it, there is literally no guarantee that you will have it again. Because while players come and go, sometimes you have a special group of guys that is the time that they could make it happen. And, I'm not a Lion fan. I'm a Lion sympathizer today because, they've been perennial losers for a good juncture of the last 4 decades. And it was a cool story. But after what I witnessed yesterday, it changes my whole perspective on the kind of coach that Dan Campbell is. I feel that he literally took something away from his players and gave it away. It is egregious, for lack of a better word, what occurred yesterday. And while the media will hype it up and say that his guys are ride or die with him, I have a hard time believing that certain players in that locker room are not questioning the decision making. And this could lead to a snowball effect that potentially could affect his coaching future moving forward. Because we've seen guys in this league win Super Bowls and still get fired down the road. It happened to Doug Peterson. It happened to Tom Coughlin. It happens to coaches, sometimes quicker than others. Philly has had a propensity for moving on a little quicker than a lot of organizations. But I would literally be physically ill if I was a Lions fan today. Just a horrible, horrible way to lose a game. And, the San Francisco 49ers, per my preseason pick, ultimately did win the NFC. But I didn't have them winning by having something more or less given to them. You have to earn it every play in this league. But I am literally sad for those Detroit Lions players because I just don't know how you could look at your coach moving forward and have the right amount of confidence that he can handle these kind of moments. I thought he learned something in the Dallas game. Yesterday proved otherwise. And I don't even want to suggest the other burning question in my brain with things not looking on the up and up. Because a lot of times with the eye test and just things that make sense, you look at this and you're like, is this real? Is this real? I know that it was a popular theme with the colors of the Super Bowl logo, that maybe there was some kind of conspiracy to this. All I'm going to say is that there's a lot of money in a league that suddenly welcomes gambling because it's been, more acceptable around the board now. And I'm not insinuating that this game was fixed. But what I am going to say is what I saw yesterday just did not make any amount of sense. This is the highest level of professional football, and you're supposed to be the highest level of coaches. It doesn't take an NFL level coach to know that in that situation, you do not take points off the board. I shouldn't have to stress that any further. 2 field goals are as good as a touchdown. And he literally took a touchdown off the board with his, I don't even know what you want to call it. Is it cockiness? Is it ego? Is it overzealous nature? Is it stubbornness? Whatever it is, it was stupid. And the Detroit Lions have nobody to thank for their loss more so than the head coach. I can't put this one on the players. Chiefs defense, championship pedigree, superior coaching, and Patrick Mahomes managing the game leads them to a win over the 1-seeded Ravens. Ravens give game away due to Lamar Jackson's bad throw for a pick in the end zone. And Zay Flowers enters a lost offseason after his untimely fumble on his way to a potential touchdown. Lots to unpack here, but to keep it simple, what's really remarkable about this win for the Kansas City Chiefs is that they did not score in the second half and still managed to win this game. It's a credit to the mental toughness. This is the opposite of what I saw yesterday with the Detroit game. The Chiefs ran the ball, were never in trouble of feeling like they were going to lose this game. When Baltimore needed a stop late, MVS got behind the defense, made a hell of a play while he was falling towards his middle of his back. And similar to how they quietly got out of Buffalo and feeling like they stole something, this one wasn't quite the same kind of theft. Maybe so. I mean, with the turnovers on Baltimore's part, but Patrick Mahomes was the better quarterback yesterday. And while the media is going to blow this up about all the offense that we witnessed yesterday, the reality is that the Kansas City defense, led by coordinator Steve Spagnuolo, is the God's honest difference in this ball game. Isaiah Pacheco ran hard, but that is the reason why the Chiefs are going to yet another Super Bowl. And should they win this game against the 49ers, they are the new Patriots right now in terms of a legitimate running dynasty. A lot of questions may come after the Super Bowl. Is Coach Reed going to retire? Is Travis Kelce going to retire? Is Chris Jones going to be on a new team? As you know, coming into the year, there were a lot of contract issues, and he sat out the first game against the aforementioned Lions. But a long offseason for Lamar and co. I will shout out Odell Beckham. I think he did a grand job of consoling his teammates, leadership, good veteran look for sure by number 3 of the Ravens, showing a lot of maturity that maybe was not seen in his younger years as a member of the New York Football Giants or the Cleveland Browns. But what Detroit and Baltimore both share going into this offseason is going to be a lot of regrets and a lot of flashbacks of missed opportunities. In Zay Flowers' case, it looked like at minimum he was going to hit the 1-yard line, possibly stretch it all the way into the end zone. He lost the football overextending in. The Lamar interception is bothersome because while some people were getting on Josh Allen just a week ago about a similar throw, Josh Allen made a better throw. Unfortunately, he got hit in the middle of the back. In Lamar's case, he forced it into a situation where you had 3 white jerseys and only 1 black jersey. Just unbelievable. Just unbelievable the way that that transpired. I don't think this has any bearing on the fact that Lamar Jackson is the league MVP and rightfully, deservedly so. But when I look at what I saw yesterday, I think Coach Harbaugh said it best. They made the plays. We didn't. I don't have the same kind of fishy, stinky feel about the Ravens losing as I do with the Lions. Because with the Lions, it was pretty disturbing what I saw yesterday. And if I was a fan, I would want to get away from football for a while because that's how egregious what happened in Game 2 was. Game 1, in my opinion, the more seasoned team did what I predicted they would do: beat the more talented team. I don't think I'm gonna question, or a lot of people are gonna question, that the Ravens probably have a better roster than the Chiefs right now. Got some comments coming in. Zach, I don't blame LJ at all. I do. You're the best team all season in the NFL, and you don't put up any points. Gotta blame the quarterback to a level, Zach. It's a quarterback-driven league, just my opinion. But Campbell's call was bad. Different level of bad, Zach. That's the kind of shit that gets motherfuckers fired. Sorry for cursing, but that is literally how I feel about what I saw yesterday. That was god-awful. Yeah. Lamar, the Raven offense in general, just too many mistakes and also emotional mistakes. They got multiple penalties for unnecessary roughness. There were different junctures of this game where the Baltimore Ravens kind of looked like they were unhinged. And, that's not what championship teams do. Being calm in the most critical moments of these football games is what separates the winners from the losers. And what I see from the Chiefs is similar to what I saw from the dynasty before them, the New England Patriots. They shine the brightest and have their biggest moments of composure when things get the toughest. And that is literally what separates the pretenders from the contenders and the champs from the chumps. There ain't no chumps yesterday. Those are 4 heavyweight teams going at it. But my bottom line here, in reference to both these ball games, is that the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs played championship level football at the most critical points of the game. And the coaching was much better on the sidelines of the AFC's road team and the NFC's home team. I think the Ravens have a great opportunity to be back, especially if there's going to be some turnover in the Kansas City organization. I'm still looking to see what Buffalo's going to do next year. You have a very established coach that is unemployed right now that I believe could be the difference between the Bills being a second round and out team or a team that's finally going to get to the next level and get to that elusive Super Bowl. Josh Allen is a top 5 quarterback, but they need a better coach. I don't think Coach Sean McDermott is going to ever get that Bills team to the next level. What I will say, while I don't think Bill deserves to be a GM anymore, from a coaching-based standpoint, I think that he can get that defense right to be a championship caliber level squad like we have seen with the Chiefs. Because what makes the Chiefs so special this year, despite not having the talented rosters of yesteryear, previous years, is that their defense and their running game has literally been the backbone. And it doesn't matter how much the rules change. It doesn't matter what era of football it is. Running the football and playing stout defense will always be a formula for success in January and February. That shit does not go out of style. If he didn't have such a great season, he'd be fired. I don't know. I mean, probably, but I understand that Coach Campbell has made a living off of living on the edge, but you just can't do that to your team. It's one thing if an integral play like a fumble or something random happens where the other team seizes momentum, and that's just part of the game. That's the way the cookie crumbles. But as a coach, when you literally hand the other team the momentum, when they are more talented and more seasoned than you, you literally deserve to lose. And I want to believe that it's just bad coaching. But I'm sorry, man. There is nobody, whether it's peewees, high school, college, the pros, can ever tell me that that's the right play. There is, if it was a 7-point game, maybe. But you have a chance to go up 3 scores, and within seconds of making that blunder, they cut the game in half. You talk about 2 field goals and what they took off the board. You're talking about a 20-point swing. That shit's crazy to me. Friend of the show, Brett Bandick, he hung with me yesterday. He's getting ready to head out to work shortly. But what are your thoughts, bro, about this nonsense yesterday?
Campbell, kick the 3. Both times. You cost your team the season, confidence, you can't make those kind of mistakes at this time of the year, with the team that you have. I get it. You live and die by the sword of being aggressive, but this is the time of year where if you have the chance to put up 3 points, you don't take points off the board. Campbell lost the game. It is what it is. I'm still rooting for you next year, though.
And while I got you here for a second, give me your feedback on that Ravens debacle yesterday where they left a lot of points off the board.
One name comes into mind is Zay Flowers.
Got to be Zay.
The unsportsmanlike conduct after he caught the ball, the fumble at the goal line. He's a rookie. I get it. It's rough. He's probably going to have a bounce back year next year, but that's basically what cost them the game.
And I would also have to add, which I already did earlier, I think you might agree, was that Lamar Jackson interception. When you were on the other side of the house, I made a mention on the show that the Josh Allen, missile that he threw into the end zone where he got plastered in the back, mm-hmm. That was not as bad as Lamar's throw, because Lamar literally threw into a sea of white jerseys.
There was 3 defenders there.
Yeah, dude.
3.
For sure. I appreciate you popping in. There's guys everywhere, man. Yes. Guys coming out of the walls, to make a quick contribution to the show. Yeah, Bretsky was hanging with me and the family for the weekend. We watched some football yesterday, but both of us are just incredibly puzzled. Looking ahead to Super Bowl 58, it is a rematch. It is a rematch from 54. Jimmy Garoppolo was the starting quarterback for the 49ers last time these guys locked horns. Richard Sherman was actually a member of the 49ers. So some similar faces, some are different, but still similar philosophies on how these teams go about winning ball games. So we're going to be looking ahead to Super Bowl 58. I'm going to give you a couple of keys to victory now, and believe me, you got that week off, and I don't give two damns about that flag football thing that they now call the Pro Bowl, but we're going to be hitting it hard with a lot of coverage. And, with the time off, this would be a cool week to start doing awards shows, things of that nature, even possibly looking ahead to the draft, maybe doing a couple of throwback shows about just like, evergreen material. And of course, we got the NBA heating up, so plenty to talk about. Baseball's around the corner as well. But looking forward to Super Bowl 58, I'm going to give you a few of my thoughts with regard to this. One thing that these teams have in common is that very rarely are either one of them going to be outcoached. Kyle Shanahan has the perfect personnel for what the 49ers like to do. And while I don't think Brock Purdy is on the level of elite, he has elite talent surrounding him, whether it be Deebo Samuel, CMC, Kittle. You got Trent Williams as your best blocker. There are some weaknesses opposite of Trent Williams on that line. And yesterday, early on, similar to the Green Bay game, the 49ers have shown a vulnerability against the run. That's going to be something to look for moving forward into the Super Bowl because the Kansas City Chiefs run the ball very well. As I'm sure most media members on most anyone who covers the NFL have been saying lately, it is going to be very hard to go against Patrick Mahomes, similar to whenever people would pick against Tom Brady during that Patriot run. While I know there's a lot more variables as to why the Chiefs are winning other than the great number 15, the bottom line is that the man just keeps winning big football games. And, a decent portion of his playoff losses were against the guy that I just mentioned, Tom Brady. Go Niners, I guess. Yeah, Zach, I'll tell you the truth, dude. I don't really have like a dog in this fight or somebody that I really want to see win. Because as a New York Giants fan, we've never had a dynasty. We've had moments of greatness over the last 4 decades. The Chiefs are essentially becoming a dynasty if they win this football game. In some people's eyes, they already are. The Chiefs winning would give them a 4th Super Bowl, which ties my Giants. The 49ers winning would give them a 6th that ties the Patriots and Steelers. I also consider the 49ers a rival because of the history that they share with the New York Giants over the course of different decades. I don't really have anyone to root for here, but I do actually believe that I am going to pull for the Niners for one simple, logical reason. I'm an NFC guy. If the Niners get number 6, we're tied with whoever has the most Lombardis in the AFC, which I just said is the Steelers and Patriots. Kind of a weird way to look at it, but I'm not going to be going over the top rooting for either one of these teams because I don't really like either one of these teams. In years past, I always sort of enjoyed watching the Chiefs during the Derek Thomas era, during the Tony Gonzalez era, hell, even more recently, the Alex Smith era. And Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in professional football right now. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that if it's not my team, I enjoy dynasties, because I don't. I didn't enjoy the Patriot dynasty. I didn't enjoy name your favorite NBA dynasty, more recently the Golden State Warriors, where it seemed like every year it was the Warriors forming like the Avengers against whoever LeBron was leading, because that was going on for 4 consecutive years. I think it's good for the NFL to have parity. But at the same time, when you consider how much money the Kansas City Chiefs generate for the league, not to mention that the multifaceted, multi-talented Taylor Swift is involved with one of the greatest tight ends of any and all eras, there's a lot of money that this organization is making on all kinds of metrics for the NFL. And similar to how people hated the Yankees in baseball during their dynasty as the evil empire, or how people hated the Patriots with Darth Hoodie, the bottom line is that that's the kind of territory that the Chiefs are getting into. And, I already alluded to how Buffalo needs to do a few things to get to the next level. I think the Ravens have an excellent opportunity to be right back in the same place next year, possibly crush the goal of winning the bowl. You got Harbaugh joining your team right now. Charger fans should feel very good about the immediate future. I do think the Raiders are going to gradually improve. But right now, when I think about who's elite, it's the Ravens, it's the Chiefs, and then there's everybody else. I would consider Cincinnati because of the greatness of Joe Burrow, but he missed a good chunk of the year, and they're going to be going through some changes as well. But right now, when I think about elite, the team that's playing the Chiefs and the two teams that played yesterday in Baltimore, everybody else in this league as of right now is a little underneath them. The Detroit Lions, I don't deem as an elite team. I look at them as a team that got hot at the right time and had favorable matchups to get there. We all know that the Dallas Cowboys can't be deemed elite with their choking ways, nor can the Philadelphia Eagles right now, because they took quite the plunge from last year's Super Bowl appearance. A team to look out for next year, actually, in my opinion, is going to be the Green Bay Packers. I think that they have grown a lot during the course of the second half of the year. But I said this going into the playoffs on a couple of shows. I've said it amongst my guys off air. I believe that similar to when the New England Patriots were constantly winning Super Bowls, I think the AFC right now is a superior conference to the NFC. And that doesn't hurt me one bit, because when my team was winning Super Bowls, they still beat the AFC's best, so I'll take it. I would love to see Buffalo get the right coach to get Josh Allen to that next level. I personally feel that he does too much. As the Ravens go, I don't know, dude. You play that game 10 times, the Ravens might win it 7 times. But the important thing is they didn't win it yesterday. And like I said already, that's where the championship pedigree comes in. And just some of that stuff that doesn't get on the stat sheet. They have a legitimate championship pedigree. Ivan Hidalgo popping in. The Houston Texans, it's another team with a bright future. Yeah, dude, that's my coach of the year, in my opinion. I was considering Stefanski, but it's got to be DeMeco Ryans. I'm okay with even Dan Campbell making the ballot for coach of the year. Matt LaFleur possibly, but he ain't going to win it over Campbell or even get nominated. The guy who should win is DeMeco Ryans. I think that's the guy that will win. My 3 finalists for coach of the year this year will be Kevin Stefanski of the Browns, DeMeco Ryans of the Texans, and probably Dan Campbell of the Lions, because while guys like Coach Reed and guys like Coach Shanahan have done phenomenal jobs, these are teams that are favored going into most seasons. So you're not going to get that same kind of praise from the media writers. Nick Sirianni was up for coach of the year last year, but it was a big jump for Philadelphia. So I think that's part of the reason too. And he obviously right now he's similar to his rival in the division, Brian Dable. These are guys that are not trending upward after the kind of year twos that they had with their particular organizations. Year 2 meaning after, the big season, so to speak. Get at me in the comments, guys. It's going to be a very interesting Super Bowl. We're going to be bringing it on the coverage angle of things with all the analysis known to man. But look for us. We're going to be hitting you with some shows in the near future with announcements to come. Shouts out Zach. Shouts out Ivan. Always appreciate you boys contributing, letting me know what you think. We're only as good as the people who rock with us, and we got a great support from our followers, and we appreciate each and every last one of you. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. More content to come very soon. And to the people in Baltimore and the people in Detroit, you had a bad day, but it's going to be all right. More so the people in Baltimore, because you guys have a little more of a propensity for getting it right. One of the better organizations since Art Modell moved those guys to Baltimore. Detroit Lions, they have a hell of a squad. But please, Dan Campbell, learn from what you did, because that's the kind of shit, as I already said, that gets people fired. Peace out, Ivan. Peace out, Zach. Have a great day, everyone. And I will be back in the near future with announcements to come. Super Bowl 58 is